Al pie del Ávila majestuoso, a 920 metros sobre el nivel del mar, en un valle de verde geografía que se abre de este a oeste, surge Caracas, la capital de Venezuela.
And now, our feature presentation.
You are watching a master at work.
Go get some!
What's going on, nation? My name is Rafael Chasinas, no es el Capitán Rafucho, and welcome to a brand new season of Straight Outta Nation, the baddest team ever in the whole fucking world, Raider Nation, because, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are back with the podcast Straight Outta Nation, because not only we're going to bring the Raiders football, but also we can bring college football, college basketball, the NBA, and of course, the women's basketball. Make sure to subscribe to Capitán Rafucho on YouTube. Also, you can follow me on every social media, Twitter, Instagram, Kick, and TikTok. You see the sound for ads bots? Yes. Hit the like button, subscribe, and join with the Capitán Rafucho's gang. Yes, it is right now. All right, so we got one comment coming up there. We're coming in hot right now. We got Marcus Bank. Capitán Rafucho, much respect, my G. Salute to you, Marcus Banks. Salute to you. Also, it's been like a weird week to the Raider Nation, because not only we just release one player, but also we can bring one person to help with the defense. Yes, it is right. Because it's been like weird news for the Raider Nation, whether it comes to training camp and the offseason, because next week, when it comes to the first week of August, you know what time it is. You know what time it is. It is the preseason of the Raider Nation of Las Vegas Raiders 2025 season, the preseason, but did you come in 3 games? 3 games during the month of August. And you see that? The explosion coming up there. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to tell you no, because not only it's been like a weird week for the Raider Nation, but also it's been like a sad week because we just lost 2 legends, not only for the music, but also for the wrestling. Because for that week, we lost to Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne, and of course, the true American hero, Hulk Hogan, for the WWE, TNA, and of course, for the world of wrestling. It is really sad that we just lost 2 legends that became part of the generation. One of them, he became the lead singer of one of those incredible bands who shaped the generation of heavy metal from the 70s, Black Sabbath. And Hulk Hogan, because if you guys remember those fights against Andre the Giant, Ultimate Warrior, and Hulk Hogan versus The Rock. Hulk Hogan versus The Rock, a true classic. Hey, how's it going, True Raiders? Saludos, Rafa, surra sangre. Yeah, I'm coming in hot right now. All right, so I just wanted to tell you, we had to do a moment of silence to both legends that passed away during this week. Thank you, everybody. God bless to Ozzy Osbourne, and God bless to Hulk Hogan. Gone or not forgotten. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, to begin the news, or I mean breaking news, or everything else, what happened during that week for the Raider Nation. Because this is Raider Nation, motherfuckers. Raider Nation till I die. True way to say the holster was best during NWO for life. Yes, the New World Order for life. What you gonna do about brother? I know that I got like the impression of Hulk Hogan and Hulkster because that man is the greatest one. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we got the first topic to begin our brand new season of Straight Outta Nation. This is all about Raiders, including our rivals for the football, basketball, everything. So here it is, the first topic. Wilkins out and Adams in. And God bless we didn't get Davante Adams because we all know that Davante Adams is such a diva. But what happens between for the topic? Because according to the sources, Las Vegas Raiders are releasing defensive tackle Christian Wilkins with the destination of terminate best veteran. His time in Las Vegas is now. Due to how Wilkins treated the rehab from his foot injury that he suffered last season, the Raiders voided the remaining, guess what, $35.2 million. And which assigned Jamal Adams, which is a former safety for the Seattle Seahawks. But in this point, I just wanted to address the elephant in the room. Because I thought last season, Christian Wilkins will be dominated during the season. But all over, during for the week 5, we all know that it's over. We all know that it's over. During for the foot injury, we all know that he really fucked up. Yep, he really fucked up. Pete Hicks is in the building to say, just hit the like, and I'm hoping Wilkins comes to Miami again. Yeah, have a great weekend, Ralph. Salute to you, Pig Steaks, as known as the Skip Bayless of Miami Dolphins content creators. Yeah. And true writer to say, they could let Wilkins go into the sign to the Patriots just to piss off Mr. Davis. But he's on the play under list and likely won't play us week 1. Yeah. And I'm going to address that one, the elephant in the room, which is Christian Wilkins. You know, they just saw like leadership vacuum, and they just say it was the perfect time to voice some guarantees and finding in agreements. But I was really expecting this because the Raiders and those splash, those biggest free agents, absolutely curse. They absolutely curse because ironically, because we just got Jacoby Myers and then Christian Wilkins. And then what happened? They all curse. They all curse because you can really make a perfect NFL team by simply hiring the Raiders personnel for the last 20 years. And they're doing like the opposite of every player. They tell you how to sign and draft because they basically like the Sacramento Kings of the NFL. If you know the Sacramento Kings, well, it's a famous basketball team for the NBA. Because their team, they're finally doing the right thing. And they cut in a guy who wasn't interested in rehabbing. It was a bad signing from Tom Telesco in the first place. Because for me, Pete Carroll and Jones Pytek, they're marking their mark. They're going to fix all for the mistakes during for the 2024-2025 season when Antonio Pierce was there, including Tom Telesco. But I have a question. Was it really a bad deal in the first place? For me, it was. It was like the worst signing ever in the whole history of the free agency. Because I know that Pete Carroll will say, it's been a difficult recovery and he's done everything he needs to do. I would say on May, because it's been there every day. He's working hard. He's not ready to get back down. We're in the midst of a long, changely process. It's been a long time that after Kristen Wilkins was injured at the week number 5, they have some serious bad draft picks. Because I understand we just got amazing draft picks. For example, last year, 2024, we got Brock Bowers, the best tight end in college football for the Georgia Bulldogs. And then we got Ashton Jeanty for the Boise State. But they have bad draft picks and free agency picks, because I think there's a lot more going on the organizational level of the NFL, because that calls players to succeed or fail. Because people look at a player's career and ultimately they're all of the success or lack thereof of them. There's one reason teams like the Jaguars, Raiders, Cleveland Browns, or Arizona Cardinals are perpetual bottom feeders. For the Raiders, Baltimore Ravens, Minnesota Vikings, Philadelphia Eagles, the current Super Bowl champions, Pittsburgh Steelers, they always seem to maintain a competitive team. The position coach, strength and conditionally available facilities, and other behind-the-scenes services they do, in my opinion. But I suggest, because they only wanted high-character guys, because somehow there's somewhere like letting prison sentence, if you know what that means. Yep, if you know what that means. Yeah, try to say physically unable to perform. Yeah, that's what I just realized for everything. But in true life, they have an ongoing dispute for this foot, whether or not to have the surgery. Now the team that wants us to, because they just declined after several opinions. They also are going to be really expected to fight over guarantee money. Over guarantee money, ladies and gentlemen. Because he hurt his foot last year, he didn't play so much. That year, he was supposed to be healthy. And they see like at the boot butt of the player unable to perform with the intent of coming off and playing out this. And we're getting like the mixed messages all over for the off season. But other people isn't expecting that, because they're very soft after the last off season. Because I'm just like definitely cool, to never sign another high profile free agent again. Because they never, ever, ever fucking works for one reason or another one. Because the high profile free agents really work for any team to do it for the players. When they hit the free agency on top of the players, performing much better in contract. But the Raiders' high profile free agent signings to team crash and burn in the weirdest way possible. And that is right. Because everybody thought that Kristen Wilkins will continue, or that's really healthy. But in the real life, they know that when Kristen Wilkins was cut, everybody was just say, oh my goodness. But, it happens. It really happens a lot. It really happens. But they're just dressing up. They just address it at all. They just address it. Because the term investor veteran is a crazy destination. And when they just saw it, they took a lot of advantage. Because it seems that the front office has been low-key during W's. Yep. Lots and lots of W's low-key, because they just wanted to move on. They just wanted to make it quick to find another player who became the substitute for Kristen Wilkins, and then we're going to have so much fun during for the season. Like I told you folks, it really happens. And I'll give it like a lot of applause. Yep. I'll give it like a lot of applause to recognize that they just made a big mistake. Let's just give it a lot of applause. Yep. Lots of applause because they know exactly what they do. They know exactly what they do. But also, we would just see like Pete's take. There's 5 potential landing spots after a Shock Raiders cut. And there's 5 of them. So which 5 of those teams are going to land it on Christian Wilkins? First, Miami Dolphins could be the first one, but it's going to be coming back for these roots of Miami Dolphins. Also, there's Cincinnati Bengals, Atlanta Falcons, New England Patriots, Philadelphia Eagles, but I don't think that Christian Wilkins will be a Philadelphia Eagle. I don't think so. Maybe they just sent to Miami Dolphins or New England Patriots. That's 2 teams that I can see potentially go for like perhaps for the next season. Yep, perhaps in the next season. That I just got it. But Christian Wilkins, but there is another team that I don't think is going to be really possible. Dallas Cowboys. No. Nope. Not at all. Because have you ever seen Jerry Jones, the owner of Dallas Cowboys? Because check this out. Jerry resigning. Christian Wilkins is going to be very special. And Jerry wants Wilkins balls out. And that's for extension. It was like Christian Wilkins going to earn this extension on the field. It was like, who the hell is going to happen? How am I going to pass it a physical to sign a new deal? I mean, he was like lackadaisical with his boot, taking it off, and not listening to a recovery plan that seems like more just to the physical issue. More than the physical issue. Because they don't make like a move less. They think it's cooked for at least for a year. But I'm very sure that we'll kick the tires on him. But they're all right releasing him. The issue wasn't serious. And there's really no reason to believe that he passed a physical. And it's going to be like the tough to trying to sign the guy like this. After being injured, allegedly not doing whatever he needs to be done to resolve the injury, it will probably be like a decent chunk of change. And who knows who's going to take the risk at all. At all. And I'm going to share the screen right now. Because I'm going to show the free agents that became available. Available, ladies and gentlemen. Available. And I'm not kidding about that, folks. Not that really kidding. So we're going to share the screen and shout out to the support track. Because that makes me like getting to inform all these free agents. All right, so there it goes. So there is 15 players, including Christian Wilkins. Yep, including Christian Wilkins. Oh, there goes my bad. Yeah, it still got all loading. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it still got all loading. All right, so there it is. There's a defensive tackle free agents available, including Christian Wilkins. So here it is. There is Raekwon Davis, Austin Johnson, Levon Joseph, Maurice Hurts, Daniel Ekumbal, Khalid Davis, Jordan Phillips. Also have Quentin Jefferson, Kyle Peko, Armon Watts, Deshaun Williams, Marlon Davidson, Bruce Hector, and Michael John Ford. And check this out, folks, because he was playing only one season for the Cleveland Browns under $1 million. Under $1 million. And check this out, because both players that play for the Buffalo Bills, which is Jordan Phillips and Quentin Jefferson, they have $1 million in signing. And these are veterans. So I wouldn't mind if they're going to sign Quentin Jefferson. I mean, Quentin Jefferson could be like a great sign if they know what really happened. Because if you guys remember, 2017, Quentin Jefferson gets a jet for the game. Well, that's not a good moment. But but if you guys remember, like the controversy the controversy with it goes to this one. And because they need like a defensive tackle. They need it. But check this out. There's 9 months ago, they just signed it, Quentin Jefferson. And they just released for the Browns after the trade for the team's fizzle. And I'm not kidding. Because there are like much worse options for a defensive tackle, 3-4 on the roster at that point for the season. Because if he performs better, he'll be already upgrade for the defensive tackle room. But also it'll be like a stopgap until Dwayne Carter returns from injury. Because apparently he can't tackle or hold a black for a linebacker. He can't something like kind of rush the passer. So it's going to be like an improvement. Probably it's going to be out of a system, out of the prison system, because I know that he can really understand like the Pete Carroll system or perhaps the Chip Kelly system. But also there is Maurice Hurst, there is Daniel Cabal, Khalil Davis, but also there is Austin Johnson. And look at the guy right now. He was playing 10 seasons at his last season, which is with Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills. And look at the age. 31 years old. 31 years old. I mean, I wouldn't mind if they're going to take like a veteran, to put it in at the roster. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter because they know the schemes. They know the schemes because if they're going to put a lot of heart and soul, blood, sweat, and tears, then we are welcome here. We are welcome here. All right, so after we just share the screen about like all those players that became available, all those players that became available, there it is. Back to the solo layout, but also we got one signing, which is Jamal Adams, 3-time Pro Bowl safety. And thank God we didn't even to sign Davante Adams, because at the beginning of the show, I just called out Davante Adams as a diva. Yep. But I just have like a feeling that we just signed like perhaps a miracle. Perhaps a miracle because it's one of those notable signings where the player plays for 3 preseason games and get cut at the final cut down. I'll be surprised if he can make like the roster, but it'll be like delighted if we had some play good on it. But here's one thing. The camp body helped to teach Pete Carroll 3 schemes which utilized 3 safeties. And they would play 3 safeties with Jeremy Chin being asked to play big nickel. Yep. And all of those persons on the social media that say, oh, we got a washed up in Dream Pro, better resigning with hoping to recreate the magic of their prime. But this is like the third one, like in 2 months. 2 months. But in somehow, I don't think that Jamal Adams is completely washed because he understands the bid systems and he can help the younger guys pick it up. It is not an overpay. Not an overpay because they're trying to rekindle the talent that was so promising early in that career. If he used correctly, Higgins is a reliable young secondary. He has a warm body that filled defense for the last season. And they used to be like the best safeties in the league. And this has appeared for the last few years. There's low risk, high reward. At least they're going to give like some wisdom for the young secondary before getting cut. Yep. Before getting cut. Because if we had a safety who can cover, there's the answer. Jeremy Chin. Yes. Jeremy Chin. Because it's going to be like a situational blitzer. A blitzer. But what's happened? I mean, he's been connected for the team for the years. And it's not expecting too much. But adding the bets for the help the young defensive backs, it's not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. Because I know that over the last few seasons, he hasn't really been productive since the quarantine era years ago. That will be like the first castaway for some level of production to the tail end of his career. Because he's a decent backup option for Chin if he gets hurt. If he gets hurt. Hey, how's it going? I'm not bueno. Salute to you. I'm not bueno. Yeah, I know that I speak really fast, but I'm trying to do all the things for my best. I know that I'm doing like all of my best. Because I know this is the premiere season. Because we're just opening a brand new season. Season number 2. Because season 1, it became for the last season, which is 2024, 2025. Yes, it is. Yes, it is right. And for that moment that I just wanted to say that I'm very happy that we just signed like a safety. But if it came in real time, that Christian Wilkins is not there. I mean, that really happens a lot. That really happens a lot. A lot of this. All right, so after we just talking about Christian Wilkins and Jamal Adams, because we're going to the bell to Gabe the next topic, because I have a few question. Well, just one question for all of the fans coming up there watching, because is it necessary to extend Colton Miller's career, to extend Colton Miller's contract? Yeah. Is it necessary to extend Colton Miller's contract? My answer, I mean, I don't think that we got to extend as soon as possible, but there's one thing. The online is very young because they need the veteran presence, and the offense needs to start building continuity. He doesn't hurt because he's a top 12 tackle. Imagine that Pete Sal is going to stand him, wasn't conclusive, won the job in the camp or B at the very end of the camp because he believed that every position should be won and earned, that he won't hand out an extension at the start of the camp and remove the chance for the younger guys to challenge for the stop. But is it okay to extend Colton Miller's contract? Because I suspect we got to play in grand rotation because they're going to give certain players during games, keeping the big boys fresh. Because if Grant plays better than Miller, he will get the nod. But I really suspect that Colton is making that decision very difficult if it's not possible. Yep. If it's not possible, ladies and gentlemen, it's not possible. Also, we all know that what Miller can do at that level. And they have zero idea if Charles can play with guys fighting to keep food on the table. Once the pads are on, we can begin. Who is the best at left tackle? And I think that will be Miller at the end of the day. Because should be done by now. Because what makes me think about like Jones Protect, Pete Carroll want to move on. Because I don't really see it because he's been a rock. His play hard. But it's constantly good, but not a light. Like it's like there. He's respected and he's still 29. We have loads of cap space to the point where he can front load for this deal, just like we did with Matt Crosby. But it's not going to need to market resetting money. Because the last time Raiders are a good big reason because it was our top rated offensive line because we have it at this recent in our record shows. But if it's time to extend Colton Miller's contract, I will say yes. If they need to extend it, well, probably it's going to be 1 or 2 years to extend Colton Miller's contract. Because depending what they're asking for. Because if it's asking to pay like a top tier left tackle, they should be pro-elected to move on. Because that new regime will probably got to see on the field before handing extensions. After 5 or 6 games, he's playing great. They got to do it. Yep. they're going to do it. I mean, I didn't see the bad reason. But I just wanted to tell you a question again. Do you really think that they're going to stand Colton Miller's contract? If a yes or no. So the choice is yours. The choice is yours. All right. So we got a surprise topic because after I was talking about Colton Miller, but it is a perfect time to say what's going on with the training camp. What's going on for the training camp? Because for me, it all happens. It all happens with the good work between Max Crosby, Jackson Powers Johnson, also Jack Badge, Dante Jr. I mean, if they're going to need it, they really got to need it. But at the same time, there's going to be like the next man up for the defensive tackle. There was Adam Butler, Tung Hemingway, JJ Pex, and Leki Fotu. Because after we just saw Christian Wilkins out, it could be the next man up. But there is one thing we can agree about it. They got a brother excellent defensive line coach here. But to be honest, Jared Taylor made that play. Brendan Ted style pick stump for a long for the interior and probably like 9 Eichmann to force the tackles and over his head and bluff the mug of the occupied the backside guard is so master class. Because I was very intrigued about like JJ Pigs. He was a former tight end intro turn defensive line with a freaky lateral quickness for the size and equally fast hands for the nine. Reaching running backs and the mobile quarterbacks 1-2 gaps away from himself of bringing them for the ground. But also he had 7 rushing touchdowns last season. And I was like, wow. And to be honest right now, let's not sugarcoat it. Because we are extremely weak at the defensive tackle spot. Because we had to hope Coons to compete like the Kobe to the Mets Shaq to have any chance. Any chance. But that's pretty obvious. There is a Nets man up. Because we had at the beginning to have a nice stance. Because the new brain trust in charge wasn't about letting get of a player that paid all that money not to play and take that serious the job. Because he was great at the Dolphins with Christian Wilkins. But there is really a huge overpay back to Lesko, and once he got hurt, they show what this character and we color loses. And I'm really sure that it's really worse that we all know. And during for the training camp, I don't think that Travis Wilson could be the time to shine. Because he's not going to be probably going to play inside and outside anyway, because they really don't want to take that lead for this year. Because he needs to, if he had Coons and that's to the top, that's going to be a lasting line, but I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to be really happen. Because guards are smaller and shorter. He can power over them. Because he's been a third coaching staff in 3 years. Hopefully with a competent head coach and Pete and some consciously with Patrick Graham could be more comfortable that year. Because if Max Crosby can't teach that kid with the start with Wilson, who can? I get the coaching staff with the issue with the quarterbacks because it's really tough that a young quarterback to the ball when they have to learn a new system every year. But it's not like the Raiders system, defensive edge, beating offensive linemen keep changing. Also, Graham has been the defensive coach since 2022. And honestly, Wilson has had to learn for all this entire time. There are simply no good excuses at this point why this kid hasn't figured it out. He was capable of figuring out. Because they got to accept him as a boss at this point. Because they always root for the players, but he has no skill outside bull rushing, and that doesn't work ever at the NFL. That doesn't work very well. That doesn't. It wouldn't matter but it doesn't. Just like at another buster boss. Yep. Another Boston ball, to be honest. And also there was a last thing to comment about for the training camp. I mean, we're not talking about the battle of quarterbacks. Nope. It's not the battle of quarterbacks, so don't believe it of those like fake news reporters, those like rich bait content creators. No. Because it's not about a battle of quarterback. It's about a battle of wide receiver. Wide receiver? But others like, what? Wide receiver? I don't know, man. Because they're going to put it in with the battle of the quarterbacks. No, it is a battle of wide receivers. Because they obviously is a battle between Jack Batch versus Dante Darton Jr. But it's really impossible because they play different positions. Dante with the size and speed can carry getting more for the first team. And Jack Batch has slightly target passes there for the multiple people who play the slot. Because they both make it to the team most likely. In the end, it's not how you start. It's how you end. If both turn to be good wide receivers, that's just going to be like an extra bonus for the team. Extra bonus. Because they're going to strike it as a slot for the Tortons definitely outside. Because they could end starting honestly. Because hopefully, if it's going to start for the week number 1, that means we have a potential of mustering coming. Because there are different players and all depending for the formation personal. Because Betch is more like Mike Myers and Taunter plays a role like Trey Tucker. Yeah, Trey Tucker. But realistically, is a wide receiver room. That doesn't fit like at how far this past the game goes. Because those guys are drafting mainly to help open the whole field for JT because Betch is a truly power slot at the NFL level. And I don't think he can play like some of the wide receivers against NFL cornerbacks. He only played last year for the outside for the college. He's a slot guy, but Thornton is an outside wide receiver, but he's the best fit to play the wide receiver and take tops off defense. Also, he's not a complete well-rounded wide receiver. He does like 3 out of the 6 things well. And Myers probably best use of the slots as well. Because Betch might be okay with the cornerback 2. But Thornton will be struggling against NFL cornerbacks 1. That would see probably that in 2 tight ends of designated run plays, screens and swings, especially outside for the first set, and Myers at the edge of the passing situations. Because that team, they need a true wide receiver, number 1, or a slot wide receiver to get involved. That's going to say it. But it's not about a battle of quarterbacks. It's about a battle of wide receivers who can actually take that position before the 15-man roster, which is very, 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 very important. Very important, to be honest right now. But last thing, before wrapping this out, Buzz is going to start. Or maybe Dante. Because they're going to block his ass off when JT gets the ball. Physical, great hands, and will make tough catches. And I can see Thornton emerging as the season coming up. Because they're going to figure it out. The best is Jacoby Myers' replacement next year as long as he has a good rookie season. Because they play different roles in the offense. On the outside, Thornton is where immediate need. A Betch is expected to play the slot with 3 targets per been started. Not to mention that all tight end talents are roaming the middle. Yep, they're right in the middle. That was it. That was like really, really, really it. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, and I apologize because I was mumbling, and of course I was like getting out of the words because I know that I was like dealing with the live everything. Yes, because it is good to think about the mental health. It is good to think about family is gonna first, mental health is first, and then going out for like making some streams like that to inform and of course to provide content creator to all for the fans that I really know. So thank you very much. Also, make sure to subscribe to Capitan Rafucho on YouTube. You can follow me on every social media, Twitter, Instagram, Kick, and TikTok. Twitter as known as at Capitan Rafucho. Instagram at Capitan Rafucho 93. Kick at Capitan Rafucho. And on TikTok at Capitan Rafucho 93. Yeah, I just got like the noise for I just got the noise for the Xbox because I just trying to figure it out. The voice mode. And I was wanted to tell you, you can also help and support our channel by making a donation on Cash App or PayPal, which my main channel is demonetized right now because I'm on the road of 15K subscribers. And in 2 weeks is going to be my birthday. 32 years old. August 9th, my birthday. So you got to make a deal. So, sorry about that. All right. So thank you very much to become part of the Capitan Rafucho's gang. The whole gang, the whole squad. And thanks for watching for the brand new season of Straight Outta Nation, because this is about the beginning of the brand new season, because all over for the next week, we're going to bring the thunder and lightning, and of course, we're going to bring the simple and black attitude. Yes, simple and black attitude with some content creators that you love, some special guests, talking about the NFL, talking about college football, basketball, women's basketball, and college basketball, everything. So I just wanted to tell you, thank you guys for joining. So I will see you there in the Combat Club at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time, because not only is going to be our co-host, Zion Senate, but also is going to be there a special guest, which is the one and only Combatics MMA, to talk about the preview. Yeah, talking about the preview of the UFC Fight Night, where we would take your versus right near the return. So I just wanted to tell you, thank you guys for joining at this brand new season. This is season number 2 of Straight Outta Nation, because this is the Raider Nation, motherfuckers. It's more than a Raiders podcast. It's a go-to show where the culture is the main factor in football and basketball. So thank you very much, and I will see you there later at the Combat Club, and happy Friday, happy weekend. We're out of here.